oftentimes that you go in and out of trance during the day. Say your drive to work, your drive to the supermarket, even brushing your teeth. Are you 100% present when you're brushing your teeth, or do you just brush your teeth and go about your day? During that time you're brushing your teeth, you entered a trance. Something, your body just took over and did what was the steps that were necessary. So that's how success can be. Success can become as easy as brushing your teeth. It can be something that you don't have to focus on or think about or struggle with. It can just be as easy as brushing your teeth.
Well, hi there, and welcome to a Sit With Me podcast. My name is Solène, and I am your host, but you know me. You already know who I am. How are you doing? I am doing fantastic because I am truly excited for this week's episode. Am I saying that at the beginning of every single episode? Yes, potentially, maybe, but it is true every single time. And today we talk about hypnotherapy, hypnosis, and money, because we're sitting down with Juliet Obodo. Our guest is Juliet Obodo. She's a financial hypnotherapist. She's a subconscious coach and the founder of the FWRD Institute. She has years of experience helping her clients identify and release subconscious blocks, particularly around money. She's a financial hypnotherapist, and you know my whole spiel about mental blocks and subconscious mind. And so she helps her client release all those financial mental blocks so they can step into their higher potential and become more successful and shift into the identity of the person that they want to become in this highly successful version of themselves. We had a fantastic conversation, very free-flowing, very enlightening and empowering. She shares her journey to become a financial hypnotherapist. How did she become a financial hypnotherapist? Why did she become a financial hypnotherapist? But she also gives us actionable insights, right, that we can implement in our daily lives so we can self-hypnotize and start this identity shift and shift into the version of ourselves that is more successful and that makes more money. So if you want to upgrade your life and upgrade your finances, which I don't know anyone who would say no to that, keep on listening because it was a fantastic conversation. So whether you are someone who is navigating life's challenges right now, whether you want to unlock your full potential, her work, her words, her wisdom, and the tools that she gave us in that episode is really key to start that transformation. So again, thank you so much to Juliet for accepting to sit down with me. And without further ado, please take a seat with Juliet. Hi, Juliet. Thank you so much for sitting down with me. Thank you. I've been, like I just was saying, I've been following you for so long, and I'm just excited that you accepted to sit down with me.
Oh, thank you for having me. And how do you pronounce your name? I saw that it's actually, I don't want to make with my American accent.
It's Solène. It's a French name, Solène. The accent is throwing people off, but it's Solène. Yeah, exactly. Okay. That's exactly that.
I was going to put a Jersey accent and be like, Solène, hey.
It works as well. I like my what's funny with my name is that it sounds good with every accent. Even the German accent is cute. So I like when people put their little twist on it. You know what? I'm reinventing myself with every accent that I'm discovering, so it's great. I actually like it with different accents. So, yeah, you are in the US right now. I know that we're absolutely not on the same time zone. I wanted to ask, with everything that's happening now, are you okay? Is everything okay? Like, are you?
You know,
yeah.
You know, I'm an older millennial, so I've been around for a while. And being a Black woman in the U.S., a dark-skinned Black woman in the U.S., it's like we live in a different reality from everyone else. So it's almost like this is a regular Wednesday for me in terms of dealing with certain individuals in power. And to be honest, because of my access to people with privilege, just I've always seen behind the curtain. I've always seen the wizard behind the curtain. Now it's simply them saying the quiet part out loud. This guy tweeted, now Black women are going to get a reality check. I'm like, Black women have always
It's been a while. Yeah, we are actually more anchored in reality than everyone else.
It's like, welcome to the party. Finally, finally, you're coming backstage with us. We've been backstage.
Finally, you see what we've been seeing behind the curtains, and people just have the space and the guts to say it out loud. Because I was talking to a friend here. She lived in the US, and she was like, I'm not surprised. I knew that this was gonna happen. I'm not happy, obviously not, but there is a sense that a portion of the population, mostly women, mostly Black women, the surprise is not there, and it's just like, you know what? Welcome. Now it's just we're still getting the shorthand of the stick, and we're just gonna power through. So from overseas, I don't know, love, good vibes. I don't know what I can. Solidarity, like we see you, we hear you, and we, whatever you need from us, I guess.
Yeah, it's very important that, when people look at what's going on, it's so important to focus on your sphere of control. So if you are an elder within your community, so you take care of your friend, you take care of your family, you look to local government to make sure that everyone, like who are you voting into office that has direct control over your funds for the people in your area. Because yes, I could get angry for what's going on in California. I could get angry what's going on in Texas. I could get angry what's going on in Florida. But at the end of the day, those people that are there, they need to organize and make things happen, because these people that are voted into these local positions are able to be stepping stones to this situation. It's like
have even a bigger impact and more direct impact, and I guess quicker than if we wait for upper echelon decisions, I assume. Yeah,
exactly. Like in terms of women's bodily autonomy.
Yeah.
If you live in a state where even if it is legal, but it's conservative, you can go to the hospital. A woman went to the hospital and had a miscarriage. So she went to the hospital and they handled it properly, proper care. The nurse called the police.
Oh, wow.
So, it's like, at the end of the day, you need to be very, very aware. You need to see who is given power in your locally, from the police commissioner, chief, sheriff, any judges. One that like everyone kind of leans on. Oh, but it's a system. The system is upheld by the people.
Exactly. Systems are created by us. We are the system. Like, it's just your neighbor, your mayor, everyone is creating the system. And I guess that it forces us to be even more acute and aware of, the direct level of power. Like we love to talk about presidents and maybe prime minister. But yeah, there's also your deputies. I mean, I don't really know how the US system works, but it forces you to be more aware of how the system of power is in your direct community, that there is more than your president. There's actually way more that goes into the system. So I guess, it forces people to know more and to, I guess, also understand their power, understand that you can put people in office that can change your life drastically. You have more power than you think, and power is in community, is in direct. It's us. It's your neighborhood. It's your city. That's where the real power is. And if you change your circle, then the world changes. Exactly. I believe that's my belief. That's
the power starts from within. At the end of the day, it's a distraction. They're going to pummel us for the next 6 months with so many bad news to gain.
Magic tricks and things and just distraction. I love that, and it's actually a perfect segue to our discussion when you say that the power comes from within. It's something that I've been learning through experience, something that you hear, but you learn from experience. So you are a hypnotherapist. I'm going to do a little intro. People will know who you are already, but you are a hypnotherapist. And I came across your work on TikTok, and I was immediately hooked because it was exactly in the vein of what I'm trying to learn and apply in my daily life and in my life in general. And I guess my first question was about your work. How do you realize that hypnotherapy was your path? Is there a particular moment or a personal experience that made you realize that, okay, hypnotherapy was the path for you?
So what's interesting is that I used hypnotherapy as I saw a hypnotherapist way before, maybe about almost 10 years before I became a hypnotherapist. So when I worked in corporate sales, I would struggle with public speaking. I would get very stressed with the deadlines. And I was also, I also allow my romantic relationships to influence my productivity and my work. Like, my attachment style was so off. And it was okay when I was in school because it's you'll skip class. But when I got into the real world, the boss is like, you're calling out because you're sad. Like, what are you talking about right now?
It's not. Give me something real. Let's be serious. Yeah.
They were like, And then at that time, I moved to New York, and I had New York rent. So I was like, I need to keep this job. So because I can't have. And I said, I am sick of this problem. And I remember Googling how to erase men from your memory. And I was like,
aren't we all? Now it's Google, ChatGPT. Please tell me, how do I remove that memory of that person from myself?
And for some reason, I stumbled upon hypnotherapy. And so I went to a hypnotherapist, and during the session, we did a cord cutting for the relationship. And I remember this because it felt so real. I felt kind of guilty, but in the visual, she's like, put the rope around you, put the rope around him, and then cut him and push him off a cliff.
Is that what made you feel guilty, that you have to push someone metaphorically off a cliff? I get it.
Yeah, I was like,
like a gentle push, like a nudge. Can I just nudge him over a little hill, maybe? Just a cute little...
and then watch him falling
off the cliff.
He was gone. And that was amazing. And I was I felt the session, no more tears, no more sadness. I was like, wow.
It was immediate. That session, you were like, and he's gone. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I did not have to spend 3 months down, and especially as someone with ADHD, the people that we date are a source of dopamine.
Okay.
I was even in love. It's just the reason why I was able to cut that is because he was a source of dopamine, and then all of a sudden it's gone.
So giving him up was more than just a relationship. It was something that your brain literally needed to feel things.
Yeah. And I didn't realize that at the time until later on with my studies with ADHD. But I was like, wow, have I actually ever been in love? So that's another conversation, something I'm researching now. But it was very important to note that that's why the hypnotherapy worked, because it cut off that my supply, my need for that person. And so it really helped with emotional regulation, which is very important in sales. You have to be a cool customer.
We're comfortable with rejection as well, and resistance and reluctance and bad mood.
It was so helpful because I would push off calls or push off some things because I was afraid of failure. So I would always you have quotas in sales during that time. And so I would wait till last minute and kind of crunch and force myself to make the calls or force myself to have the meetings to hit my quota because I dreaded doing it. So
it was really paralyzing. It was really getting in the way of your success. I mean, your development more than success. And how long did it take you to be sick of it? To really be you know what, I need to get this. I mean, how long did it take you to even realize that it was getting in the way of your success? I feel like some people don't even realize how much they are
Yeah, it was about 4 years after graduating from college. You know,
Okay.
it's like as I got more mature
Mm-hmm.
and as I'm getting in front of people that were in my managers, people that were in charge, you know, seeing the same feedback on progress reports and, you know, not being seen as someone that could take on leadership positions, even though I saw myself as a leader, they did it because of this. And then I would be like, and I said, and I know it's not because of gender, because I would have women above me, and I knew it wasn't because of race, because there were Black people above me, and the Black people were telling me this. So
Okay. So yeah. So it's coming from home.
yeah. So, but it wasn't until this breakup where I said, I can't lose time because of this relationship.
I can lose time, I can lose money, I can lose that check, and I cannot lose this opportunity because of what you're. And immediately you were like, hypnotherapy. Is that what made you take the path, or were you just a client first and then you were like?
Yeah, I was just a client first, and then hypnotherapy helped me make multiple six figures in my career in sales. I started to, as soon as I joined a job, I never had to really interview for jobs ever since then. People would network, and people would reach out to me, be like, hey, I now work here and they're looking for someone. Could you come?
I'm on my way.
Like, I don't even know what, like, it was like, I stopped interviewing. It just became of like,
you attracted, well, that's the thing. I don't chase, I attract. Well, you attracted, you didn't have to chase it anymore. And so you created this, I think it's FWRD Institute, if FWRD, am I saying it right? FWRD,
yes.
Yeah, okay. That was my pronunciation. You was my name, you was your Insta. I was like, I think it's FWRD, but I'm not sure. And so you created this institute, and I saw that you are offering a variety of you are touching a variety of themes, like you're talking about ADHD, but also burnout. You're also talking about racial trauma, quantum shift, and the millionaire mindset. What made you want to touch such a wide array of topics?
So after my first hypnotherapy experience, I stayed within the selling the intangible, so online space, right? And then I stayed in tech. First it was Mark Tech, then it was health tech. Then I finally reached the end of my corporate career in fintech. And in fintech, we were helping people get funding for their startups and their small businesses. And I saw that there was a gap between the women that would get funding versus the men. And it was simply a knowledge gap there. So when I left corporate, I started to consult with these small businesses and startups led by women to tell them the things that they needed to do to be able to get business funding. It's not just about venture capital. There's so many different ways to get funding. This, especially in the U.S., the U.S. is a corporation. The U.S.
We
is
see
about
it. Yeah.
So if you own a business, it's very, very easy to get the help you need versus being a citizen, right? But we don't realize that as women. So I started to educate women on that. And then I noticed that my success rates would dip even when the woman was very qualified. Like, the application was perfect. I just needed her to do 3 things. But there was something that kept them from doing that. And it was similar to what held me back from sales career. And I was like,
it was personal. It was not about the application or the business or the numbers. It was about the founder, the leader.
And it was 2 distinct situations with clients. One woman, I helped her get funding, but she used that money to pay for her children's tuition instead of.
Is that legal?
You know what? I don't know what she did, but because I wasn't attacked, I was like, you shouldn't. When we got the funding, you shouldn't have done that. You know.
Yeah.
But that really like burnt me out because it was ADHD disappointment, because I was very excited for her to put, it was $250,000, $250,000.
And it's a betrayal of a relationship.
Yeah.
of a
And it
work
was
relationship.
she was going to be a major case study because that was one of the largest amounts of funding I was able to get. So we were going to use that money to do all these plans. And it's like, the thing was like, you don't need Shark Tank. You have the power yourself. It was going to be a big thing. This was going to be the headline campaign. And that happened. And so I experienced major burnout from that disappointment. And then another client had the perfect application, but they just would not do what was necessary. And so I said, this is something that's internal. I created a course even that would say, this is what you do every single day to get this amount of money. Still wouldn't do it. Just one thing a day that you had to do to get funding. Still wouldn't do it. I said, what is going on? And I realized that they were struggling like how I was struggling before hypnotherapy. So I said,
because you were offering consultancy business-wise, you were not really talking about hypnotherapy to your clients at that time.
Nope. It's almost like I forgot about hypnotherapy because the transformation was so deep and so natural. There were no side effects.
Okay, so you were so much in your transformed, quote unquote, in your true state that you forgot.
Yeah,
you could. Okay.
I was a completely different person than from that 23-year-old girl. Like I was light years away from her. So I forgot about her and
everything that she had to do to become her. Right? I mean, to become you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like people were like, "Oh, you were born with a phone in your hand." Like they were just like they thought I was like the sales goddess.
Yeah. The messiah of sales, the true saleswoman. And did you, so I guess that then you introduced hypnotherapy to your clients. Was that an easy thing for them to accept, or were they like, what is this girl trying to sell me again?
So I tried to refer them to people, but they, once again, had that block. Okay. So I said, okay, I'm going to get certified. I said, I'm going to...
You took it on your own hand. Yeah. Okay.
And just infuse it into your
work.
Business. And so at the same time, there was a lot of stuff going on in my personal life. So I just decided to move to LA to do my training. So when I got to LA, I was like, oh, I'm so busy with work. I don't want to do this. And I remember I was going to cancel, but the one of the founders there of the Institute was like, you just come for the day. And so I went and I kept going. And then I stayed for like a year and I graduated to all of the certifications. So, it's like, I saw the difference when I finished the first level 1. Even before I finished level 1, I went to the nail salon and got my first hypnotherapy client because I was talking about hypnotherapy. And this was someone that didn't need business funding. They were just like, can you hypnotize me? How much do you charge? And I was just like,
well, coming up with the business plans and the business plan on the spot.
Yeah, it was like I had my start, my company, but I didn't have my practice set up. So I just said $111. And so my very first client was someone I met at the nail salon. And she just seemed so down. She was so sweet, but so down because she said, I don't know, like I just get this intense road rage on my way to work. So we had our session. So she PayPal'd me. and so we sat down and we had our session, and she talked about she was a new mother. And so she talked about having to leave her child at home. She hated the fact that she had to leave her child at home and go back to work so soon. And I asked her, so how does that make you feel? She's like, I feel really guilty and I'm so angry. Like, I just can't be a good mother. And it's like, oh, do you experience like this road rage when you go to the grocery store, when you go to, anything else? She's like, no, only when I go to work.
So there's something there when we dig deep enough.
Yeah. So it's so funny because my sales background is the reason why I was able to ask her these questions, even though you do eventually learn this type of questioning in level 2, level 3. But because of my sales background and then identifying people's pain points, like what's the real problem here, and how can hypnotherapy, and it's a product or service I truly believe in, hypnotherapy. So I want to make sure that we solve your pain point, your problem. And so I said, so the anger is coming from the fact and from the guilt, right?
Yeah.
Because when you see someone that's angry, there's something underneath that anger. Anger is
always. It's a curtain. It's the symptom. It's the symptom. It's not the problem itself.
Yeah, because it's like you're not an angry person, but you have this anger. And so once we identified that it was truly guilt, first, because of my coaching background, we have to also have an conscious and external solution. Then after we address the inner problem, right? Because a lot of people think that hypnotherapy is a magic pill, but it's like you taking a shower and then going to lay on your dirty bed, put on dirty pajamas, lay in bed.
It's more than, it goes deeper than, it's not a magic pill like you say. It's not. It goes deeper. And I love the story of your first client. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And I remember it made me think of something that you said on the podcast. You'd said that we need to heal our way to success. And that's kind of, her success was going to work without road rage. Can you expand on that and kind of explain what do you mean by healing our way to success?
So the thing with high earning, high achievers, that's who I specifically work with, is that we set these big, audacious goals. And oftentimes we hit those goals, but then there is this, you're not as happy when you hit that goal because you sacrifice so much to hit that goal. You think that you have to sacrifice so much to hit that goal. And then when you get to the certain destination, because you're unhappy for some reason, we have to figure out what the reason is. Sometimes you'll experience burnout. Sometimes you'll experience sadness. Sometimes you'll experience anger or emotion that will cause you to sabotage. And so then you sabotage your success and you're back to square one. But you kind of enjoy being at square one because now you have something to do again. So
it's the loop. You are addicted to the grind, to the work, to the
Yeah. And so eventually when you get to a certain age, you can't do that anymore. Or eventually you sabotage yourself so much that it's very hard to get back to the top and you're
exhausted.
Yeah. So I help my clients prevent that. So a lot of my clients are already successful, already making money. My job is to make sure that they keep it and make more money and stay on top because success isn't everything.
And not lose it once they get it, not get, you get the money and then you spend it on your children's tuition or you gamble it or trying to get the success and keep it and still be happy and still be fulfilled. Like you say, you work with people with ADHD, you work with high earners, people who are already successful. In which way, why do you choose, why hypnotherapy works so well for this kind of people specifically?
Because they are hyper aware. A lot of them are very intelligent, so you know your faults, you know your weaknesses, but you know it consciously. But for some reason, you can't change. You try to make the changes, but they don't stick. So hypnotherapy helps us address the belief that's linked to the behavior at the subconscious and somatic level. So working with clients, whether they have ADHD, anxiety, or financial trauma, or even burnout, I have to work with their subconscious mind. So the beliefs that they took on, a lot of them are core beliefs that have created their reality, created their world from a very young age, right? Or from a traumatic experience. And then we have to address the behavior by how they respond to their success. So if you're someone that's grew up in a household, maybe you used to be very rich. For millennials, a lot of them are very rich, but then their parents lost money because the economic downturn in 2000, and so they had to move. Everything, they see their parents fighting about bills, always struggling about money, always upset about money, and so many of them see money as a boogeyman in the corner. So even though they're making $250,000 a year, $500,000 a year, they are still afraid of money.
That has been that messaging when it comes to money has been printed in our mind, and we say that often, that the relationship that your parents had with money is, you will simply repeat that the way you saw your parents handling money. And I had myself to, when I did that work for me, I had to go back and ask myself, okay, I grew up mostly with my mother and my grandmother. Okay, what kind of messaging, what kind of things? And for me, for an example, was like my mom would never open letters from the bank. It was a day where we would still receive mails, and we will still, the most important information will come through mails. And, it says something about, avoiding money. She wouldn't, oh no, I'm not going to open the letters of the bank because I want to have a good day or whatever. And it reflected my own personal experience with money, of this avoidance, personality, which I forcibly faced by every week I would open my bank account to try to get rid of this anxiety, right? Because I realized that when I would have to open my bank account, I would feel some type of knot in my stomach or something like that, right? And I was like, well, you know what? We're going to work on that. And I'm going to open my bank account every single week or whatever and look at it and do a budget. But I had to go back and look at my grandmother's relationship to money, my mother's relationship to money, the people around me, what have I heard? And I think that we underestimate how much we're simply repeating what we grew up with. And we keep talking about people with ADHD. It's something that we hear a lot. Sorry, if you're on TikTok, can you explain to us, how does the brain of someone with ADHD, what's the difference? What is ADHD, quote unquote, just to make sure that we understand.
Yeah. So with ADHD, you do have a different reward system. So what makes you motivated, essentially. And there's also the executive dysfunction. So like the 8 pieces of executive function that most adults have. ADHD, people with ADHD often struggle with, such as emotional regulation, focus, being able to be present, being able to see the sequence of steps necessary to do things immediately. So all of that has an impact in your earning capabilities, and also has an impact in you earning and receiving and keeping money. So if you, when you combine ADHD with financial trauma, it is the perfect storm. Yeah. So you have a lot of people that are emotional spenders. So they make a lot of money, but they need to spend it to feel good because they get that high.
Is that what you just say? The récompense? How do you say the reward? The reward. Okay, exactly. They get rewarded from that. Okay, and I guess that with hypnotherapy, it allows you to, because you talk about being hyper aware, which is something that I've know that too well. I guess that with hypnotherapy, because I talk about that on another podcast, it allows you to reduce that hyper awareness and go behind the wall of your conscious mind, and to have a direct impact.
Yes. So it specifically, I have a method of somatic hypnotherapy. So we focus more on triggers because that's very important when working with money and working with ADHD, because it can be easily as flipping a switch. You think you have it, but then there's a certain switch that's flipped and you go back to that old way. So it's a lot of times when people say that, like with ADHD, you have your safe foods, like you've been eating the same meal for maybe 6 months or a year. And then one day you're just like, I don't want to eat this anymore. And you never eat it again for the rest of your life. So
wow. That's a switch. Yeah, that's.
So it's very important. And it starts from the same process as someone without ADHD. But then we layer on something for your fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, your nervous system.
Fight, flight, freeze, or there's a fourth one now?
Yeah, fawn. So like financial people pleasing. So fawn is like you always go out when you go out with your friends, and maybe you had water and a piece of toast, and this person's eating lasagna, garlic bread, and wine, and everyone's like, all right, so let's split it evenly. You're like, okay.
Yeah, fine, no problem with me. Okay, yeah, okay.
You know, you had water and a bite of someone's tiramisu. You
were barely there. You just brushed the table with your presence. But you said, okay. Yeah. I didn't know that. I know the first three, but I did not know. I never heard of fawn. So that's, and your work. Like we're just talking about. You're focusing on helping people release and identify and release their subconscious block, right? What are, in your experience, what are some common patterns or common beliefs that you see people struggle with? Do you see something that are recurring themes over the years?
Yeah, so a lot of recurring themes in terms of high achievers is that you have to work hard in order to earn money. So especially when I'm working with entrepreneurs, they have a hard time pricing their products or services appropriately because they feel like, yeah, I shouldn't make this much because I'm not doing a lot of work.
I'm doing too little for that big of a check.
Yeah, so they'll even overwork themselves and put themselves into a corner just because of that belief. So that creates financial burnout, right? Then we have people that oftentimes struggle. They stay at a job that they hate because they feel like, oh yeah, it's financial stability. Working for someone else does not equal financial stability, you know, especially during these times. So many people got laid off. So many things can happen. Also, people identifying too closely with what they do, like their jobs, especially when lockdown happened, people losing their jobs, they lost themselves.
So a part of your identity. Yeah. I remember I was talking about that to a friend. We were doing a training at work of some sort. I think it was about diversity or something. And it struck me because the person asked, okay, on a piece of paper, write down who you are, like identify. Yeah, my name is Solène, etc., etc. And my list was like, my name is Solène. I'm from the Caribbean. I am this. I am that. I like this. And like my job at that time came dead last, even though we were all in the room. And some of my other colleagues, the first thing that they say was, my name is X and I am a, etc., etc. And they put exactly the second thing that they said was their job titles. And it made me, I remember that moment being like, it's so interesting to see someone identify with their jobs, because the moment that they lose that, they lose a part of themselves. And it was important for me to hear that, because I then have so much more empathy for them when something will go wrong at work, or sometimes there will be a pain in the ass, or they would ask for, in my opinion, too much. But then I remember, no, but this is who they are. Like, work is their home. It's who they are. So it forced me to be even more empathetic and be like, these people define themselves as their work. And so when you encounter someone like that, isn't that, how do you make them understand that they can identify with something else? Do you encounter a lot of resistance from people who are too scared of letting that go? right?
Yeah. So, a lot of times resistance will come up, especially when it comes to identity, because it's so locked in to them. And then even when it comes to achieving success, because or stopping or releasing a bad or negative habit, because at the end of the day, that negative habit is protecting them from something, or it used to protect them from something. So them holding on to that bad habit is releasing that feeling of safety. So even though I'm trying to offer them something better, it doesn't feel safer. So
They feel
hypnotherapy,
threatened.
exactly. So hypnotherapy gives them a safe environment for them to change that behavior, because they can easily replace it, because that belief that this thing is keeping them safe is cleared and replaced with a new belief. Then
Right
that
away during that session.
feeling when they embark on that behavior. Like, for example, so I'm a financial hypnotherapist. I don't work with romantic partnerships or anything outside of that, but the work does eventually help people in their relationships or with their dating lives, because especially with self-worth and the
If
need.
it's an identity shift, obviously it's going to impact more than your financial.
Exactly. So people oftentimes will come back and say, I used to like drama and toxic relationships, but now I can't stand it. As soon as I see a red flag, I feel gross and feel ugh. And that used to I used to love that. I used to love guys with this or that. Now I'm like, ugh, get me the nice guy.
Get me away. Someone take me out. But yeah, it means that they are, and I guess the fact that they can identify it, the fact that they can see the flag and respond and like go the other way. And I made me think about it. You create the shift program. To do just that, right? To help people rewire their mind and step into their full potential. Can you talk about the shift program that you have created?
So the shift method makes it very easy for people to see the process. So you have S for subconscious reprogramming, H for healing your emotions and your triggers. I is where the identity shifting comes in. Then F is for foolproofing your goals. So doing the necessary external actions to stay in alignment with all the work that you did in S, H, and I. And then T is for taking that action consistently every day.
So it's not just taking the shower, it's also then putting the moisturizer on, and just don't roll into the mud. And at first, when we hear about, I guess that when people hear about hypnosis, self-hypnosis, we think about America Got Talent, or a magic trick, or performers, or, a pendulum, in this very entertainment like vibe when we hear about hypnotherapy and hypnosis. In which way do you explain to people hypnotherapy in order for them to understand the power that it holds and the healing properties, so to get them away from this very stage performance ideal sometimes that we have when we hear hypnosis?
I talk about the fact that, oftentimes that you go in and out of trance during the day. Say your drive to work, your drive to the supermarket, even brushing your teeth. Are you 100% present when you're brushing your teeth, or do you just brush your teeth and go about your day? During that time you're brushing your teeth, you entered a trance. Your body just took over and did what was the steps that were necessary. So that's how success can be. Success can become as easy as brushing your teeth. It can be something that you don't have to focus on or think about or struggle with. It can just be as easy as brushing your teeth.
Yeah, because I see myself, here I use public transportation, but when I'm in the Caribbean, I have my car, and it's true that there's sometimes I know where I'm going on my way back home, and it's just I'm not I'm there, but I'm not really there. And I know exactly when it starts happening. When I arrive at a certain point on my journey back home, when I arrive in my city, basically in my neighborhood, it's like something takes over. It does not happen all the time, but something takes over, and it's just, so I guess it's kind of a state of trance where you're there and you're not really there, and that. So you're a financial hypnotherapist. You decide to apply that to finance and money. Do you do it in sessions? Do you offer hypnotherapy just in multiple sessions, or is this self-hypnosis? Because I saw that you talk about self-hypnosis. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, so there are two. So people can take an assessment to see which one would be ideal for them. I start with self-hypnosis because I prefer people to start to do the work on their own before they even book a hypnotherapy session. I saw that people that either have followed me or have done like the free tips and stuff that I share are better clients just because they know what to expect and they know what they want out of the session. Like they're better at setting the intention. Yeah. And a lot of times it's very important that you start to reconnect with your subconscious and with your body. We're so disconnected. People don't realize how disconnected they are. So coming in from just being completely disconnected into a hypnotherapy session, it's not going to be that magic pill that you want it to be. It does help. It does work, like, my session with the breakup, but
yeah.
I did a lot.
It won't be as impactful as if you do the work of. So, would you recommend meditation? What would you say to someone who hear that and they're like, okay, if I first need to reconnect to my subconscious, okay, great. How do I do that? Do you recommend meditation or breath work or?
I just do hypnotherapy. I'm someone with ADHD, so I don't want to waste my time with meditation.
I understand.
Or that way. Like I just say hypnotherapy. Just start self-hypnosis.
What advice would you give to someone? How if I want to do self-hypnosis? Because I know I'm going to be one of the next client really soon. As soon as I enter my eye earner, for sure. But today, what could I do? Or someone who is listening to that to do self-hypnosis? What kind of tools or advice would you give to someone who's really interested and really willing to do the work? Sorry.
So I have a free guide, the GIST hypnotherapy and success guide. It walks you through the process of self-hypnosis. So read the guide, understand do the process, the step-by-step in the guide, and keep doing that every day for 30 days and see the shift. And then you'll know when you're ready to join the live group hypnosis sessions or work with me one-on-one. So I offer that for free because I think I don't want to have anything keeping people from that success, because it's something that's, you can do it for free. It's a free guide. There's no side effects except success.
That's there is no side effect except success. That's a nice merch. I will buy that. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Yeah, and I saw that you offer, there's like an accountability section on your website. And I feel like I don't see that often, accountability. Why is it so important to have accountability in that type of work, according to you?
Because it is something that I didn't realize how impactful it was until years later. I was just a completely different person. And oftentimes too, I'll have clients that my first 20 clients will reach out to me like 5 years later and say, oh my gosh, by the way, thank you.
By the way, you changed my life. By the way, minor detail.
And then sometimes too with ADHD, or if depending on your cultural background, or especially if you're someone that is a high achiever, so you've done things by force, it can be humbling or unfamiliar. So with having that accountability with the monthly group hypnosis helps you have something to look forward to, helps you see that other people are in it, helps you see just like what I do every day.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes it's a very, I don't know, it's a big piece of the puzzle that is missing, the accountability part, because we give people a lot of the resources. I mean, when I say coaches or experts, they give a lot of the resources, etc. But then there is no accountability behind that forces or that encourages people to keep on going, or even to just talk to other people freely about your ups and downs and your struggles. I have that in a very different way when it comes to meditation. I'm a big meditator. I meditate every single day. For me, meditating correctly changed my life. And once I got back here, so I do Vipassana, and I joined a group of meditators here in Berlin. And it's kind of it's not, I mean, it's a friend group, but to have a room where we meet each other every month and we talk about the ups and downs and are we meditating, it changes you, and it helps you stay focused. It helps you, stay on the rail. So I was very, like, it was very great to see that you had an accountability like section. And to go back to hypnosis, I feel like reading about it and listening to you talk about it and doing my little research, I feel like it's at the perfect intersection of, so you have science, which is, understanding the brain, but also spirituality, right? Where it's with the deeper consciousness. I feel like hypnosis is kind of at this intersection. Do you feel that? Do you feel a mix of both, or how do you work with that in your practice?
So I also have a certification program where I train hypnotherapists who are more on the science side, and I also train hypnotherapists that are more on the spiritual side. They want to help their clients connect with their spirituality. And the reason why it works for everything is because at the very, very bottom is fear and focus. So for whatever your goal is, you're going to need to either release the fear and lean into more focus. And so that's the power of hypnotherapy. If you clear the fear in your mind, you can open your heart and have more faith, right? Feel more connected with others because you don't have that layer of fear. Feel more connected to others because now you're present, because you're not worried about the future or regretting the past. You're here in the now, and that improves your connection with others. And then it also releases the fear that this person has the ability to hurt me in any relationship. People oftentimes shy away from friendships, romantic partnerships, business partnerships because of the fear of being hurt. But once you remove that fear, you're able to make more connections. And so you see that in your business life, and your personal life as well, and your spiritual life, because now people see you as being more open, less guarded, more magnetic.
And less fearful. So it's about getting rid of the fear, the 3F, getting rid of the fear, lean into faith, and so you can focus better. I'm just trying to I'm taking notes because this is kind of my own little session. So everything that you're saying, I'm like absorbing it like a sponge, so I can do the work for myself. So getting rid of the fear, lean in faith, so you can focus, focus better, and all of that thanks to hypnotherapy. But we talk about self-limiting beliefs. What tools would you recommend to someone who we hear about self-limiting belief, but how do I identify my self-limiting beliefs?
Yeah, so that's part of the process in the guide. It helps you kind of question yourself. So one of the questions that you'll see as before you get to the actual hypnotherapy part is, what is it that you want to do but feel you can't? What is it that you want to be but you feel you can't? What is it that you want to have but you feel you can't? So when you write that down, then you put down why. Why can't you have this? Why can't you be this? Why can't you do this? And then when you write the reason down, you ask yourself, is that true?
Most of the time it is not. Spoiler alert, most of the time it won't be true. Most of the time it will be completely made up. However, something that I'm noticing, and maybe it's my timeline, sometimes we can get stuck in the self-diagnosis cycle of just repeating that we have self-limiting beliefs and stopping at that. It's just, well, I have self-limiting beliefs and that's it. Or I have that and I don't, or maybe people do not know what to do with when they get that answer, right? So once you identify that, and instead of falling back into this self-diagnosis of just coming back to the same conclusion, coming back to the over and over again, is it once you do that, once you have it on paper, it is through the self-hypnosis and through the hypnotherapy that you can get rid of those. Is that it? It's just to make sure that I understand.
Yes. So once you write down why, you write down when. When did you start to believe this? What happened? What happened to make you believe this? When was this? So it was like, a past relationship. They said that I was hard to love. An old boss said that I could never be a leader. My mom and dad kept saying money doesn't grow on trees. So you write that down, right? And then in the self-hypnosis portion, it'll walk you through the process of clearing that belief.
And at least when you have all of that on paper, you know exactly what to target in your hypnotherapy, and it becomes even more impactful and even more, like you, instead of just talking about it, it's like a laser focused solution, and this is what you will be targeting in your session: self-hypnosis and hypnotherapy.
Exactly.
And I feel like when it is explained that way, we understand and we see the real power of hypnotherapy, that once you do the pre-work of identifying all of that, which I think that's why you give the free material, then hypnotherapy becomes even more impactful. And I wanted your advice as an expert of something, because it's something that I've been kind of tried to practice since last month. It's about creating an alter ego. And it may not be on the topic of hypnotherapy, but what do you think of creating a complete alter ego to achieve your goal or to rewire your brain? If we talk about the science of rewiring your brain, I guess it's more close to that.
Yeah, that's also that is a NLP technique, shifting into
NLP, just for the people.
Neuro-linguistic programming technique. That sometimes you can incorporate into a hypnotherapy session. I used to actually end it with use it to end sessions when people were going from employee to owner. So they're leaving their 9 to 5, but they were still like an employee. They're still they're like, oh, I don't want to spend money. You're
the boss.
It's your business. You need this for your business.
You must.
Personal finance, business finance are completely different. So that was one of the things that I had to do, doing that identity shift into your 6-figure CEO, $1 million hypnotist. That's the work that you have to do. And so I definitely recommend it, because that helps you. Your identity is actually the center of you doing this work. Is more than just like self-concept. It's a true shift on, once you focus on this identity, then you can focus on the beliefs and what they value. So for example, I have someone that's training in the certification that's becoming a fitness coach, right? Well, they are a fitness coach and they're incorporating hypnotherapy. And I said, your success rates for your clients are going to improve because you're going to incorporate hypnotherapy. And with hypnotherapy, instead of just them hypnotizing them to go to the gym, you're going to hypnotize them into becoming someone that prioritizes fitness.
Yes, it's way more deeper than just you change. It's more than the behavior, the habit, implementing the habit of going to the gym, because you can still go to the gym and not do anything. However, if you say, I want to become, you hypnotize them to become someone who prioritizes health. And like you said, it's going to impact so much more than the habit. You were talking about when you hypnotize someone on their financial side, they come back to you and they say, wait, it has actually impacted also my my love life. So it's way more than self-concept. It goes deeper. And how do you, so when he incorporated that in his work, I'm trying to understand what messaging does he say to his client for them to become that?
So that's why when people, especially when people enroll in the certification, they're like, people said that they could just use Chat GPT to get the hypnotherapy script, but it's like they don't know what to put in Chat GPT to do the necessary change.
Yeah.
So if someone's like, oh, I want to go to the gym more, most people will start with there. Most people will be like, I did a hypnotherapy script that will hypnotize me to go to the gym. But nothing changes because they hypnotize themselves to go to the gym, but one day the gym is closed. One day they can't go to the gym. What happens then? So you hypnotize them to be someone that prioritizes fitness. So if the gym is closed, they will come home and do an at-home workout. If they're traveling, they will use the hotel gym. If they can't use the hotel gym, they'll opt for the stairs versus the elevator. They'll improve their number of steps. So they're that person all the time instead of one part of the day based on certain circumstances.
And also, I guess that it will also influence you eat better, you feel better. I mean, it impacts your life on a broader spectrum. So it's an identity shift. And something that you said make me think about something else. I always have 1,000 questions. What I see, for example, it's when you talk about people who are going from employee to business owner, right? I feel like sometimes a lot of people have, and it's the beginning of the year, we have a lot of resolutions, we have a lot of goals, and we want to achieve this, we want to be business owners, we want to have the house, the whatever, and we have this increase in this in motivation. We want all of these things, but all of a sudden we suffer from a lack of motivation, or we want it for a day or two and we talk about it to our friends and we are motivated, but then fast forward to 2-3 days or a week later, we're like, nah, I don't want it. I don't know if I want it. Whatever. Like, next. What would you say to someone like that? And how do you, is it a fear question? Is it a focus question? Is it like a faith, going back to those 3F?
Yeah.
How do you diagnose that kind of behavior, quote unquote?
So from the very, very beginning, you have to make sure that this is a goal that, especially if you're some motivation and goal setting is a priority within my practice, especially because I work with people that set lofty goals, but they also have ADHD and anxiety. So we have that fear from the anxiety and then the focus issue with the ADHD. Yeah. So people often say that, oh, it's hard to get motivated with ADHD. No, it's just that you have to have the right parameters for someone with ADHD to set your goals. So you have to set goals that work for you. So SMART goals really don't work for people with ADHD. I have a cosmic goal setting framework that I use to make sure. So from the very beginning, we have to see that the goal aligns with that framework. So C is for conscious, O is for optimistic. So you're setting a goal that you're running towards something versus away from something. So it's like, I want to buy a house, not I hate my apartment, I want to leave. So it has to be optimistic, right?
That is a reframing. That is a powerful reframing. Okay.
Yeah. So make sure that goal hits the S, subconsciously aligned, M, magical, a little bit of excitement there. And then I, it's like the inner work is done to you. And then C, it's for the good of the collective. It's not harming anyone. So once you hit that, once you have that framework, we run it through that to make sure that this is a goal that you actually want to hit. You're not just saying some stuff like that, that TikTok audio, like, I want to have a baby. Kim.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to travel. And it's like, you didn't really care about that goal anyway, right?
Yeah, you didn't want it for real. Yeah, it was just something that just on your mind that day. You just wanted to talk about it, or a baby in the streets. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're like, So we run it. So you make sure that you actually want to hit this goal, and then we keep it quiet. The motivation comes from you being able to reveal the results of the goal afterwards. So don't tell anyone, because that if you tell someone about that goal, no matter if it does hit that point, a lot of the motivation is done because you already get that hit of dopamine from telling that person, talking about it.
So,
right?
so you are part of Don't Share Your Goals team. Don't share or share them once they've kind of become, they're more ripe, when the fruit is more ripe.
Yep.
And not just for not for the evil eye, but very much because once you say it, you're not motivated anymore to do it. Okay. Well, I'm gonna keep all my goals private. Well, I'm Caribbean, so I've been raised in the shut your mouth, don't tell anything, don't tell anyone your goals. So that is in me. And so I saw that you are implementing human design, and I'm new to the human design. I am I don't remember what am I. Anyway, how do you implement human design in all of that? How does it come in the puzzle?
With human design, it comes from what type of it helps me kind of helps me create a framework, and also helps me understand what type of questions to ask my clients, and then what type of external support my client will need to hit those goals.
What is important for you to know because there's different types, there's different profile.
Yeah, there's different profiles. So like different motivation. With the human design, you're motivated by different things, but you're also
the way you respond as well. I'm not well versed, but I know that I've done this. Is the way you respond, the way you're motivated, and based on that, that's how you help your client. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if they're business owners. So it's like within the certification, especially. So everyone is training to become a hypnotherapist, but their human design will help them discover what type of hypnotherapist their niche, essentially, what niche they should focus on. And it also helps them figure out what type of clients they even attract.
And I guess what type of client they will help better as well. I guess that's it's like they're all on different paths, and you can help different people because you have different strengths. So I'm trying to learn more about human design and how to incorporate it in my own journey to find success, etc., 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 and to fulfill my thirst for success and ambition. But before I let you go, for anyone who's listening to this podcast who feel maybe stuck or anxious or unable to break those old patterns that we talk about, right? What is one practical step that they can maybe implement today to begin this shift in their mind and really move forward, if that makes sense?
So definitely recommend downloading the free guide. That's why
I'm going to link that for sure.
Yeah, I have that because I realized that even though I'm posting the content every day, it's free information, they do need something more structured that's just going to walk them through the beginning, because once you get through the guide and once you get through that hurdle of experiencing self-hypnosis, then it's easier for you to take the next step. You'll be able to decide what you really want. And a lot of people are kind of hold back on what they truly want because they feel like they can't have it.
And you know what? I'm realizing that very often in my conversation, when someone says they're lost, they're not really lost. They're just sometimes very scared of acknowledging what they truly want. They know what they want, but very often they're scared of going there and going. So every single time when I hear someone say, I'm lost, I'm like, you're not truly lost. Maybe you're just a little scared. Maybe you're just more scared. You have more fear. Maybe you're not focused. But yeah, and also following you on every platform. Your content is golden. And I could not believe that you said yes, because I was at a moment with the podcast where I just wanted to sit down with people. I was tired of talking to myself. I was like, it's time for me. And I was like, you know what? Should I just send an email to every single person that you want to have on the podcast? It's your dream list. and then like your team respond. I was like, am I really gonna sit down with her? So thank you so much for accepting. Your content is gold. I'm gonna link, of course, all your social media, all your website, everywhere that I can link stuff on the podcast. I feel like it's really impactful, and what I love about your work is that it really feels that you are accompanying your client step by step, and it's really intentional in the way that you are helping people on their financial freedom and financial revolution journey, even though I'm sure that the impact of your work goes way beyond than financial. There's a real identity shift. If people are interested, please go look at your website, learn about hypnotherapy. For me, it was very fascinating to learn all the cute little things. So yeah, where people can find you. I'm going to link it everywhere, but where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram at Juliet Obodo, and it's the same name on TikTok. And then we also have the YouTube channel that's also the same name for longer videos and content for you if you just want to. It's called FWRD University. So I just have videos up there that are a bit longer for people that want to learn more and dive into understanding their subconscious and the connection to their bodies and success.
Thank you so much. Like you said, there is no side effect, just success. I feel like it's such a great, and you're great with acronym as well, like shift, cosmic. I'm like, damn, like this is so good. So yes, yeah. Thank you so much. I'll for sure try hypnotherapy. It's on my bucket list. It's something that I've been wanting to do for a very long time because I'm way too self-aware, hyper-aware. I mean, everything that you said is just me in a nutshell. So yes, thank you so much. Have a great day, because we're on 2 different time zones. It's 8 p.m. where I am and 2 p.m. where you are. So it's a great start of your day. Have a great start of your day. And thank you again for your work and everything very much. I'm very honored.
All right. I'm glad to sit down. It's something I love to talk about. So anytime.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.